Hello, I am Debtor and I will be doing this. This is ID Exchange, excuse me. It is a boss module. As you can see, there will be two faces on it, as well as a stage number, two cards, as well as a light. I have put tool mods on this bomb because, again, this is a boss. But we don't need any of that information for a second. Now, this, as you can guess, is going to be a communication exercise. There's two different ways you can do this, and I'll go through both of them when we get to it. Firstly, as an expert, whether you are EFMing this or doing this as voice, you have one step before you ever deal with the bomb itself, and that relates to this. The serial number up here. Our serial number for this is Whiskey Echo 4, Gulf India 1, and that will probably be the most important information you will have throughout the bomb. Mainly because it allows you to identify your six card holders. 5 nobles and a convict. Everyone else, for the intent of this module, will be commoners. How do we find our 6 card holders? Well, we've already noted down the serial number. And most people can see the letters next to everyone's names. Those letters allow us to convert this serial number into who they are. I can't English, so I apologize if this is confusing. Our first character is a whiskey, so we are going to find whiskey in the table. That gives us a Dong Min. I will not attempt to do some of these names because they are confusing for someone who doesn't naturally speak this. If memory serves, this is based on a South Korean game show. I could be wrong on that. And if I am, I do apologize. Our second identification is Echo, so we are going to again find Echo in the table, list the name down next to it, and move on. Now, we have a number. We are going to take that number and use it to move forward throughout our list of identities. Our last one was Kyung Hyun, which means we will be starting with 1 is Kyun Gran, Yu Hyun, 2, Jun Seok, 3, and Sang Min will be our next noble. I typically call them royalty, so I will default to that at some point, and I apologize in advance. Our next character is Gulf, which we will literally just label. Yu Hyun is our 4th noble. Now, we run into a problem. Our character is India, but India's already taken by another card. Well, the resolution to this is fairly simple. We just move to the next name. The next name that doesn't have a card will be the next holder of a card. So, because Sang Min has already been assigned, Yo 1 will take our next card. And lastly, our convict card shows us the last rule that we have to deal with. Anytime you have a number, I've already shown you earlier when I found Sang Min, but we'll do it again. Anytime you have a number, you will go from the last person who you gave an ID to the next person in line based on that number. This is a 1, so we are simply going to go to the next person. This 4 took us through 4 identities before giving us the next person. Yoon Sun does not have a card, so they will become our first convict. Now, let's talk to our diffuser and figure out what our first stage is. This I've already recognized... I've done this module too many times, and I already recognize them off instinct. This is Jinho. Obviously, you can go through and remember all of their names. I haven't remembered everyone, but I do remember the top of the table. And this I don't have a automatic clue of, but I can describe them to whatever expert I have on hand. They are red-headed, they are male, and they are leaning their body away from the camera. That is a perfect, nailed-on description of Hyun Min. Obviously, you can go through here, and if you are good as a diffuser, memorizing names and assigning them to faces, especially non-English names. And again, I do apologize if I butcher any of these names. I am not used to saying them, and I do not speak the language they come from. You can either remember their names or simply describe them as I did both times throughout this stage. Now, as an expert, what do we do with this information? Well, we know that Jinho and Hyun Min traded cards. Neither of them are cards we have. They're both commoners. So we can tell our diffuser to move on. Generate stage 2. Again, I already know this character is saying Min, and I can describe this to my expert. Dark hair, large forehead, male, with the shoulders having a patterned shirt. That, again, is a nail-on description of Kyung Hyun. Now, both of these have cards, but they're both nobles. So, again, like with the two commoners, we don't care, and we move on. Stage 3, once again, we describe to our experts what we're looking at, or we give them what names we know of. This is Jungmoon. This, I don't remember their name off the top of my head, but they have a lot of hair going down, they have bangs. They are male, they have a suit on, and they don't have glasses. Their head is slightly tilted down, and that is Yeowon. Obviously, if you are doing this as EFM like I am, you can simply just look at the pictures and match them between module and bomb. Yeowon becomes our first person who we actually care about throughout this entire scenario. Yeowon will give away their card. What that means is that they will go into this special chart over here. If you are using Notepad++, I suggest either using a second window or making a list below your list of cards. Yeowon trades with Jungmoon. So, Jungmoon takes the royalty card, and Yeowon gains 1 point for giving it away. We know that, so we move to the next stage. This is once again going to be Kyung Hyun, and this is going to be Yeon Seung. Again, I apologize if I butchered their names. We will repeat the same situation. Kyung Hyun gives away a card, they get a point. They give away a noble card, and they get a point for it. Yeon Seung takes that card, so they will receive the role it goes with. Rinse, repeat until you get through all of the stages. Yeon Seung and Jungmoon. Jungmoon has a card, Yeon Seung has a card. They're both nobles, we don't care. Nobles trading or commoners trading means we move on with our lives. This is the exact same stage. We resolve it the exact same way we did the last stage, by not doing anything. They're both still nobles, they both do not matter, to us when they're trading with each other. This is saying Min and Jinho. Saying Min has a card, Jinho doesn't. So, saying Min goes on our list of people with points, and Jinho goes on our list of people with nobility cards. We rinse, we repeat, and we continue. Yoon's son, here's the fun part. To everybody who is me. Actually, never mind. We are trading noble with conflict. Convict, excuse me. Yoon's son takes a noble card, and Yu Hyun takes the convict card. Now, there is something special we need to note. Yoon's son, we don't have any points to them yet, but we will give them an LC in this last column. That stands for last convict, and we will get to why that's important to keep track of in a second. Next, this is, we again rinse, repeat, move on, Yeowon and Dong Min. Dong Min has a card, and Yeowon doesn't. So, Dong Min gives up their card. Yeowon takes it, and Dong Min gets a point for trading away nobility. Sang Min and Jung Moon. This will be Jung Moon giving away a card. Sang Min will take it. And again, 1 point for nobility. Now, we are at submission phase. I do have a few rules I want to go over. Unfortunately, we didn't get a convict trading with a commoner. If that ever happens, we resolve it the same way we would resolve a nobility trading with a commoner. Except with one critical change. Whoever it is that's trading away the convict card gets 2 points. And they would get this LC next to them, marking them as the last person to get rid of the convict card. Now, why is that important? Why is this LC that we marked down, even though it was a noble ex-convict trade, important? Well, because this LC right here, when we hit submission phase, awards 3 points. Okay, now what is the purpose of the points? Well, this is a game show, and points determine how well you did in that game show. So, the person with the most points, in this case Yoon's son, wins the game show. Include header, excuse me while I go through and frustrate myself. So, with the most points, and they don't have the convict card, that is another important part to this, we mark Yoon's son, this character right here, as a winner. Now, if there was a tie, we would give a point. We would give one of these medallions, aka click on the face, of every single person that had tied. Also, if the person with the most points is actively holding the convict card, they are ineligible to win. Meaning that if they were to have that card, but have the highest score, anybody who has the next highest score, in this case a series of 1s, would be marked during this first stage of submission. In both cases, we don't need to worry about that for this module, because Yoon's son is the last convict and doesn't actively have the card. But, so we mark her for her 3 points, and we click that crosshair as a diffuser. Now, we have a second stage, and in that second stage, we simply mark our convict. Who has the convict card at the moment? That is Yoo Hyun. Redhead, male, staring straight at the camera, or if your diffuser remembers their names, you can just tell them that. Another important thing to note is that these faces are in the same order they are in this manual. So if you and your diffuser ever get confused, you can reorient yourself by counting how many down the list that they are, and your diffuser can do the same. So, Yoo Hyun is the 7th person in reading order on this list. They are the 7th person in reading order on this module. And that's both a solved boss and a solved bomb. Enjoy the crab rave. Now, there are a few things I do need to reiterate, and a few more I need to outright mention. Now, I covered it strictly, but I feel the need to reiterate it. The convict, whoever is here, whoever this is physically ineligible from winning the game, no matter how many points they have, no matter what else happens. As long as you have the convict card, as long as this person has the convict card, they are physically ineligible from being selected during the first part of submission phase. The second part of submission phase will always mark our convict, with no exceptions. This last convict happens regardless of whether it's a Noble X convict trade or a Convict X commoner trade. In the case of a Convict X commoner trade, the convict, on top of getting this last convict mark and the 3 points at the end of the bomb, if they still have that claim by the end of it, they will get an additional 2 points. If somebody traded away the convict card after someone else claimed the last convict role, the last convict gets taken away, and the new person to give away the convict card becomes our last convict marked, and is the only person eligible for the 3 points, should they still have it by submission phase. You do not ever award the last convict points prior to the end of the bomb. That is why it is important to mark it with something other than point values. I personally use this format with the last convict in the 3rd column, and that 3rd column exclusively being used for that mark, but it's up to you, and if you're using Notepad+, you can simply use an asterisk or some other form of identifier in order to make sure that you know who is who. Aside from that, that is the module ID exchange. And quite possibly one of the most fun modules, in my opinion, in the game today. The only rule left is if the character is a number for when you're selecting your first noble. Simply all that states, if you did get confused by that, is that you will convert your first character, if it is a number, into whatever letter it is, except it is marked with a 0. It is 0 indexed. So, if your first character is a 0, you will go with Jungmoon as your first noble. If it's a 1, Yeon Seong will take the role of first noble. Jinho will take it if it's 2, Dongmin 3, and you can see where this is going. If it's a first letter, you do it the exact same way. We've done literally everything else. And that is quite literally everything there is to know about this module. It's a fun one. I recommend using it more often. And if you have some spare time and a diffuser that is capable of remembering these names, or a diffuser that's capable of describing these people to you, you might enjoy the module as well. I don't have a good outro, and I am bad at creating them on the spot, so in place of that, I will say good night. Take care of yourself, and please, please, understand that exact last point. Take care of yourself. Even if you can't fully do it, taking care of yourself as much as you can is important. Till next time, guys.